What's up, y'all? This is your boy Juro. It is November 8th, Super Tuesday. You're going out to perform your civic duty and place your selection for who you feel is going to represent you. But you know what? I got this feeling that a big weight is going to be lifted off of a lot of people's shoulders today. But I also feel there's going to be a whole lot of people throughout the year and years to come that may be saying, what, why, and how did this happen? Who am I talking to? You know, I see a lot of traffic, a lot of discussion about relationships, about being a survivor. And I see so many interpretations, but you see very few people talk about the source and the key things that make the environment. See, a lot of people do that because of they want to hold on to an ideology or a perspective and don't want to look at things in the clear sense. Truth of the matter, there are people walking around this planet that unfortunately still have no clue of what they need, nor willing to admit what is required for their happiness. Who am I talking to? So the end result is they feel like their lives has been hijacked. It feels like their lives is in a repetitive cycle. You know, like that glass casserole dish that you put your food in as you put it in the microwave and you got all that pressure. And people come, people go, people move, people stand still, and things are hidden in plain sight. You know why that's the case, y'all? Because the being the fact, it solely depends on the fact that as a human, if you do not see your worth, you will never be able to understand your emotions. You know, the real you. Yeah, that little boy, that little girl, that when you wake up in the morning and brush your pearly whites and wash the crust out of your eyes, who you think is looking back? The real you. And now there is a conflict. Some have mastered, or they think they've mastered, the art of compartmentalizing their pain. Some have gotten to a point with bold and vigor to show loyalty to the same. I've come to learn, y'all, there is no reward nor loyalty found in disappointment. Only truth. Why? Because truth is pure. Truth is, like they say, a double-edged sword. It just depends on which side of the point you're going to get or who is wielding it. Because the worst thing that you could do, y'all, is run from yourself. With all the running that's going on, sure, you get to see things in a different viewpoint. A lot of those viewpoints have no accountability. Also, it has no loyalty. So you got to wonder, why is it that so many people find that that's comfortable for them? Why do so many people feel that it's okay to ransom your dreams, your hopes, your direction? As you already know, does not matter what your hopes, dreams, and desires may be without direction. But if you're not grounded, comfortable in your skin, able to answer the question, who are you? Because when you're able to answer the question of who you are, your actions define it. You don't have to say a word. But guess what comes with that? There comes a level of peace of mind and understanding, because there is the example of ownership. Still in 2016, we have people who do not see their worth and the pricelessness of their mortality. Why? Why is that? I'll tell you why. Because people have fallen in love with distractions, with denial. And as long as that denial is able to run shot in your life, guess what? Impulsiveness is right behind it. And you know what happens with impulsive thought? That is a carte blanche way of saying, my time, my efforts have no value. So it is a repetitive cycle, because all things done have to be accounted for, with or without your consent. So these days, there's been a false platform and dynamic that, I don't have to take accountability. I can live for the moment, and where my shoes go is where they've been. And that's just the way it is. But it does not match or make sense to how you're feeling in regards to your logic. That's what is the breeding ground of what causes disdain. How about resentment? Which goes back to this. None of this could be manifested if you just decided to love you. That's the million-dollar question. Why do you not love you? Why do you not see the value of your existence? Why do you feel you need that person to give you the sign off, the cosign that it is all good? Don't you understand? And if you haven't, your first relationship that you will ever have is with yourself. Everything that you need on this earthly realm to navigate it was given the moment you took your first breath. Meanwhile, the people along the way in your life, the people that have found a way to gain access to your choices, the people that will never be there on the end to know your story, they're banking that you don't. They're banking that you will not wake up. They're banking that you will not protect what matters. What about your life? If you surely think that your whole purpose of being on this planet is to eat, to consume, possibly reproduce, and that's it, you are hijacking your legacy. You are disrespecting your lineage. Do you understand, my kings? Every man walking on this planet, your last name, you are carrying it to the next generation. You are walking on the path that your elders made. But we forget that because we don't see the bigger picture. We look for the short payout. And then we're wondering why we disfranchised. We're wondering why we can't sit down at the table. We're wondering why we can't establish a dialogue that will help us grow. You can't ask that next person to represent when you ain't representing. So I ask this to each one of you. Do you know who you are? If you can't answer that, you need to go back to school. That school is inside you. And when you're really at the point that you're willing to be vulnerable and transparent, guess what's going to happen? All those disappointments will become your insight. They will become your wisdom. And you will be prepared to take your life to the next level. Why would you give somebody $1 million when they don't see the value in one? It's the same thing. Why would you give access to somebody to your life that will never value it? See, people fail to realize they want to look on the earthly realm that God don't exist. But look at all that's going on. The devil's running shop. You think that female that came in your life was sent there to build you up? The people that come in your life is a mirror reflection of the choices that you make or the choices you have made. That's what transparency is. See, you can't ask or seek correction if you're not willing to correct yourself. And maybe that's the reason why so many relationships fail over and over and over and over and over and over again. Why? Because let me tell you something. You can't have a relationship with nobody until you have a relationship with yourself. The two precious gifts that God gave you. One, to unconditionally love yourself. The second was free will, the right to choose. But why is it in 2016, no one's choosing to be happy? Why is it in 2016, no one's choosing to be truthful? Speak your truth. You can't have a dialogue and communication if you can't speak how you feel. But you can't speak how you feel if you don't know who you are. That's why we have hundreds and thousands of wanting to be Beyoncés and Jay-Z's. You can aspire to their greatness, but maybe your greatness was better. You can't invest in someone else's legacy when it ain't yours. Why do you think they spoke the parable of each one, teach one? You can't teach nobody nothing if you're not willing to learn about you. Who am I talking to? So I asked you this. Why don't you feel you're worth being loved? Because guess what? There's no payout in running from who you are. You can't run from you. That's you. Everybody has an opportunity. Everybody has a story. But guess what? You make your reality. It's based off your choices. And that is why society today chooses to live in fear. They choose their ignorance and their bias off of the things that should empower them. Why is it in 2016 the things that should matter is thrown to the side and the things that set us back is celebrated? Why? Because these people don't know who they are and they're choosing. So does it surprise you? Time progresses and guess what? They all fall. Why do you think God said, those who were first will be made last, and those who were made last will be made first? You know why? To teach you what humility was, to get you to understand what compassion is, to appreciate what empathy is all about. Why? Because it gives you a perspective to understand and see it from someone else's eyes. But keep this in mind. We attract those who are that is in our spirit. So what is it? Whatever is going on in your spirit, guess what? Until you are willing to look at it, you're going to keep going through it. That's what it's about. The same actions that it takes to do it is the same actions going to take to get you through it. So the real question should be asked, when you're getting tired. You think you're walking around crazy because you're hearing things in your voice? That's that little boy or little girl trying to reach to you, say, hey, why won't you love me? Why do you keep abusing me? Why you keep putting me in fear? Why do you think you're having these dreams? Don't you understand you're God's child first? But we want to do what we want to do. And we're surprised on the outcomes. Don't you understand? Anything that's made with man's hands is temporary. Because man will never master forever. Why? Because man's not God. So once again, let's go back to what I said before. If you're tired of going through crap, ground your feet. If you're tired of people in your environment that will not see, now let me back up a little bit. Let me help you understand something. Not everybody is supposed to know your name. Not everybody will earn the right to walk with you. And not everybody will earn the right to hear you breathe. You're not supposed to know everybody. But the chosen few, they will know your story. That may inspire them. But guess what? You know what one of the greatest gifts that a human being can get is the ability to watch somebody grow. You can't put a price on that. You can't put a price on that. That's why you see this. You can't buy happiness. But you see a whole lot of people buying stuff they don't need. Why, as a community, there's no unity. Look at the word community. Without unity, you got to have communication. So to have communication, you have to be real. Why is it the people that are yelling, keep it real, are the ones that ain't? It's simple. They refuse to take accountability to love themselves first. I tell you that, King. Look at the state of womanhood these days. It's pretty frightening, isn't it? You know why? Because a lot of them don't have a relationship with God first. A lot of them have a relationship with that dollar. And that's why they don't respect you. You know why they don't respect you? Because you don't respect you. That's why so many think, well, you know what? I'll never be in a relationship with him because he doesn't have a relationship with himself. Because guess what? Everything that is going on is nothing but spiritual hierarchy. God created Adam first. Then he created Eve. But there's been so much disappointment, so much betrayal, so much denial. Eve has lost faith in Adam. Can we get it back? You're damn right we can. People can change every day. But haven't you noticed? People don't get serious until something happens that shakes them to the core. It shouldn't take that, y'all. But let's be honest. Some people have a love affair for their pain. You know why they have a love affair for their pain? Because that's all they know. And that, you got to go back to the source. Maybe that was not illustrated in your upbringing. Maybe you had a parent who had a parent that did not teach them. But that doesn't give you a pass to play the victim. That doesn't give you a pass to be the martyr. And then you got some people that actually think, well, you know what? I did all this dirt and I hurt all these people, so I got to make this right. So I'm going to play my position in this relationship, even though I know that this person will never love me. God didn't make you slave. God didn't tell you to disrespect yourself. So why do you think your relationship is going to continue to fail? They're going to keep failing until you decide to love you first. But guess what? Don't get it twisted. Because when I keep saying love you, this is not a position of being shallow. Because let me tell you something. The energy you put out is the energy you're going to get back. Why? Because that's what's required for your wisdom. Listen, we only use 6% of our brain, but yet we're able to send spaceships into the space. Now, imagine your dreams. That's why you hear people say you can do anything you put your mind to. Well, if you can do anything that you put your mind to, why won't you love yourself? Because I'm going to tell you what, if you basing your peace of mind on the people that you break bread with, guess what they're not going to do? They're not going to want you to change. Why? Because they're benefiting from it. That's why you keep hearing the cliche, misery loves company. Why? Because where misery is, there's a whole lot of denial. And you won't find truth. That's why I put that video out 2 years ago. And I said, you want to get married? First, have a relationship with yourself. But if you don't have a relationship with yourself, guess what? You're not going to have a relationship with them. But also take note what's being seen. That's why I said, hey, you don't know everything about her? Look at the company she keeps. Look at her mother. Because her mother is a snapshot of who she's going to become. We are influenced by the people who have spent the most impact in our lives. How you think that? Listen, we are in a pandemic where there's a lot of boys without their fathers. And the byproduct of that is a man that is disconnected from himself. And it is instinct that you're going to gravitate to someone in the image of you. So guess what? If that little boy doesn't have the proper upbringing, someone to say, hey, this is what we do. No, this is not what you need. Well, guess what? it's instinct for that child to rebel. That child is going to gravitate to the first person that looks like them. That might be that drug dealer. That might be that pedophile. They also do it where the first person that validates their existence. So if that house is under turmoil, but the streets give them safety, does it surprise you why the coroner stays busy? Because see, last time I checked, I don't hear no caretakers saying, I ain't got nothing to do. You got to go within yourself. If you're basing your happiness on the people that you break bread with, you're going to be disappointed over and over and over again. Why you think I tell you that, women? Stop looking for your man. Prepare for him. Why? He's going to be the mirror to you. He also is going to have the keys that are going to unlock the other side of your life. So let me tell you something. If they don't have a relationship with God first, they'll never have a relationship with you because they don't have a relationship with themselves. So how are you going to walk with somebody that don't know where they're going? You may see that in your finances. Every time they come around, your money gets low. Something happens. That's God using what we know as synchronicity to warn you, hey, all that you don't know, this person might have a demon. Because it's funny though, we want to romanticize the occult on TV. We want to make that look glamorous. Let me tell you something. The devil was God's first angel. He was all-knowing and all-powerful. But it was his pride and ego that got him cast out. But he didn't go by himself. He didn't go by himself. There was a lot of angels that were influenced by him. And guess where they went? They came here. I highly recommend you do the research yourself. Now let's talk about 2016. Everything that you see is built off of ego, pride, and envy. These last 15 years, they said just in children's deaths, there's been over 350,000 children. Do you realize how many dreams and influences that these children could have impacted the earth? I'll do one better. Do you realize that those losses will take generations to come before they're healed, before they're, like, for example, I saw this commercial some time ago, and it said when a person is incarcerated, the family is incarcerated because the balance of the home stops. It's the same thing going on without the bars, because there's a lot of people that are doing time inside their mind. They're a prisoner within themselves, and they're okay with it. I'm telling you what I know, Queen. I'm telling you what I see, Kings. Listen, if the most important aspect to your life, other than your spirit, is your brain, because as you know, where your mind goes, your body flows. You can't do nothing without your brain. You can't see the covert attack to attack your self-worth. Look at society today. Society is convinced, numerous people, that what you need is the flesh. You need to, if your body ain't right, you get no props. Well, guess what? Those same people that said, hey, you know what? I don't want to invest in my brain. I don't want to embrace my true gifts, because everybody's giving gifts. You got a hobby, probably. You have ability to do things naturally, and you're like, well, I've always done it. No, that was a gift that was given when you were born. See what's going on now? You got people that don't have to live your life. They know a truth. And that truth is, hey, as long as you don't see your value, I'm going to keep making money off of it. And they know it. They also know this. As long as you don't invest in your body to protect it, you're not a threat. You're not a risk. So guess what? Does it surprise you why the markets are flooded with things that will kill you? Because it's all time released. And the things that you need, you're going to pay top dollar for. Think about it. Because they know if that brain is not right, if you're not working with all your faculties, the probability of whatever you needed to accomplish ain't gonna happen. Why do you think people procrastinate? 85% of it is because of their diet. So maybe that's the reason why you're not able to sleep. Maybe that's the reason why it messes with your money. You ever thought about that? Because everything is tied in to each other. I'm saying this to y'all because regardless of the rhetoric that's put out there in society, your life is priceless. There'll never be another you. So it is your responsibility to make your dreams a reality, but also to protect your lineage. Only you can protect your lineage because it is your legacy. God is praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. Why are you worried about what's going on outside your door when you need to be focused on what's going on inside you? Be blessed.